Hello there. Today I will be talking about one of the unlockable ships for the duration of this campaign that VG is running. The Königsberg, the German T5 cruiser. The first thing I need to discuss is obviously the guns as the main point basically of the ship. They have, as you can see, the grouping, because it only has 3 turrets. The grouping of the 3 shells is very tight. There's minimal dispersion. So usually when you hit one shell, you hit multiple, which is obviously a fantastic thing as your aim is good, because it can lead to things like triple citadels and stuff quite often. So you have flat trajectories, and you have incredible range, 16.5. For a T5 cruiser, that is incredible. So basically you can look at the turrets, you look at the range, and obviously the developers were looking at this and they were going like, oh shit guys, we're making a T5 Cleveland. So, afraid that they might be making a T5 Cleveland, they basically pulled out all the stops and just rammed all the other stats into the ground. The armor, well, he hit me with one HE shell from over there, he broke my engine. Basically, this thing has absolutely insane module damage. You're basically like a destroyer. You can't brawl with anything. Like, even if you brawl with a fucking St. Louis, he will break all your modules. That's how bad it is. I've gotten my engine broken by a Farragut shooting HE at me from 8 kilometers. That's how incredibly flimsy the modules are. They just break at everything. They're completely unreliable. So, this ship is very much pigeonholed into being this long-range sniper. Now, obviously, the devs didn't think this was enough, making it completely paper and basically forcing it to sit back, like unlike the Cleveland, which is quite good at brawling, this one has to sit back. But they also basically nerfed all the gun stats. Like, I'm gonna put some shit on the screen where you can see the difference. It just loses in DPM to every single other T5 cruiser. Like, the only one it beats is the Furitaka, and considering the Furitaka isn't even about DPM, but about armor-piercing shells, that is pretty damn sad. And for some reason they also nerfed the chance of fire. So basically they were really afraid of this whole Cleveland effect, this fire spammer from range. So basically they put up all the stops to make sure that there's absolutely no way this ship could be overpowered, but just because it has range. Now, in my opinion, range isn't even that important on a cruiser on T5, because my favorite cruiser is the Marblehead. It has 12.7 kilometer range, and I've just been farming on it like mad. It's an amazing ship. You don't need the range because there's so much land. They're so easy to close the distance at this tier. So honestly, for them being this heavy-handed with the nerfing, just because of the range, is a bit over the top in my opinion. But it doesn't mean that the ship is a complete disaster. You just have to play it completely differently from the other ships. Like, you can see how I've been playing this entire game. I'm basically constantly sailing away, constantly keeping my distance, and just basically taking pot shots at people while running away. You can't engage in direct fights, and sometimes, because of the incredible accuracy, you can just pull out insane bursts on other cruisers. You can see that was a double citadel. He's trying to do the same to me. I'm trying to slightly avoid, but I want to keep my arcs. That's another problem, that the turret turn rate is actually quite bad on it. It's slower than on the Omaha, the Murmansk, and the Marblehead. They all have 24 seconds. This one has 30 seconds. So you're quite bad at like evading and shooting at the same time, especially because you're oh, there we go. 3 citadels. He's dead. That's the thing you can do sometimes. But in return, he permanently destroyed my middle turret. The module damage, as I said, makes this very bad at brawling. You just have to sit back, and you have to spam, and you have to be careful, and basically you have to avoid fights, which is completely opposite to the other cruisers at this tier, which are fantastic at brawling, fantastic at fighting. Like the Omaha, the Marblehead, the Murmansk, they all got turrets all over them, so you can just basically turn around in circles and non-stop fire. Whereas in this guy, if you try to turn around, you can't shoot at all, because you're stuck to this 3 turret setup. And while the 3 turret setup has its advantages, like you saw there, one of my aim was on point, so I got 3 instant citadels, woohoo! But on the other side, if one of my turret breaks, like here, I lose 33% of my DPS permanently. It's gone. It's the same problem I had with the Oganev. it isn't, or Ognevoy, however it's pronounced, it isn't as bad on the ship as it has 3 turrets, but even here, losing a turret is a significant hampering matter, and it makes it so much harder. But luckily, I'm not exactly in a hurry in this game. I can take my time. I'm just kiting away. I'm sitting at 14.6, about 14 kilometers away from all these ships, and I'm basically just taking pot shots at them. But I'm not really having much chance with getting a fire going, and that's because not only did they nerf the module damage and the DPM and the turret turn rate, but they also nerfed the fire chance significantly. So basically you have an 8% chance of setting shit on fire, which, considering your guns are you already have less guns, well, not less guns, but a longer reload, and it just makes it quite awkward. Basically, you want to try to be a fire spammer like here, but they have made it very, very hard. Overall, I'm not really certain how I feel, because I personally enjoy the more brawling, aggressive playstyle. But on this ship you can't really be aggressive at all. It's just, I have tried multiple different aggressive tactics, and it's just murderous, because everything breaks, your engine breaks constantly. It's just absolutely ridiculous how often it breaks. Like, I get clips where I'm fighting an Oma close range, and he breaks my engine 3 times during my repair. So you like see it break, repair, break, repair, break, repair. They've somehow made it incredibly vulnerable. So obviously you'll need that for in case of upgrades like modules. You'll obviously want the engine upgrade. And I think this is the first cruiser, or this German line, if they continue like this. This is the first line where you'll have to get the last stand captain perk. Usually I only use it on destroyers, but considering how often you lose your engine on this ship, you'll basically be forced to use them. And I think it will be much more enjoyable to play once you have that perk, but that's a T4 perk, so it's gonna take a while to get there. Like, it's unlikely you'll have it until tier 7 or something, so grinding all the way to tier 7 with this cruiser that basically breaks apart as soon as someone looks at it can be quite frustrating. But as you can see, it's still possible to get work done, as I've been doing here. Just gotta take my time, gotta sit at range. At this point I'm boxed into a corner, so I really have no options. And one of the few strengths of this ship is that it actually has great torpedoes, which is a bit confusing considering they make it so absurdly bad at brawling, but then they give it incredibly good brawling torpedoes. You can fire 6 on both sides, they're quite fast, they deal good damage, and it's just a bit baffling. Like, you rarely ever get to use them, but I guess when you do get to use them, you can just murder people. In this case, I turned straight towards him to close the distance, obviously minimize the profile. This is much like the Oma ship. This is a very slim ship, so if you turn right towards a battleship, he'll have a hard time landing shells on you because of the narrow profile. You won't be bouncing anything with the shitty armor you got on your ships, but you will be hard to hit. I'm gonna prevent this cap as well. I don't know if you can see it, but he's 90% almost capped. And because I hit him, I delayed the cap. Oh wait, no, he wasn't. I'm not certain how much he was. I need to check that again. But all I knew was that he was capping, and we're capping as well. So I basically just want to prevent it more. Yeah, now I basically reset it to 0. And my torpedoes took out. You could see how good the torps were. They are very, very powerful. And even with 2 turrets, I've been able to do quite a bit of work simply because of the range. Here, I'm obviously switching to AP. That's the first citadel. This Kuma is charging me. That is scary because this ship is so bad at brawling. Like, even a Kuma scares me at close range because you are so bad at brawling, it's not even funny. You are a sniper, you are so fragile, you have to sit at range, but in this case, I can't really run away anymore, so I'm just gonna go AP YOLO and just try to citadel empty shit. Which in this case, might work out. There we go. There's the triple I was talking about, triple citadel. 1 turret, aimed at the correct spot, resulted in a triple citadel. We're just about to cap now. I've reset the cap again. So now I have guaranteed the win for us. I was the only one here who could even reset it, so basically I had to do this work. And I should have expected the Kuma to use these torps. I'm just gonna die here, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna reset this cap the last time. I'll die, but we're about to finish the cap. And we'll end the game. So, overall impressions on the Königsberg is... honestly, I think it's going to be quite a boring line to level. If they all continue like this, it just sounds very, very boring. Like, you're basically forced to play a fragile Cleveland for tier after tier after tier. And it's not like they're even particularly good at being snipers. They just have the range. That's pretty much it. The turning circle on them is awful, like really awful. The rudder shift is also quite bad. The surface detection, I guess, is decent, but everything else is just questionable. Like even their anti-air isn't that good. It's honestly quite awful. So I don't know. If you enjoy the really far back sniper type gameplay, then I guess this ship will be enjoyable. But it wasn't really my type of ship. Anyways, that's my impressions on the Königsberg.